Hi folks, this is my 1929 Black Ariel 500cc overhead valve engine. Now the Black Ariels were designed by Val Page. Ariel brought him into the company early 26 and he produced a 1926 model which was quite revolutionary. There was lots of changes to that for the 1927 year. That had problems with the frame amongst other things, and then they modified it again for the 28 year, really some big modifications. Then in 1929, this year, they introduced yet more modifications, including the oil tank. The earlier models were total loss oil. This is recirculating. I think it uses more than total loss bikes. And a few other little things they changed. Then 1930 was sort of 30-31 was the last really of the Black Ariels. It wasn't changed so much by then. And then it went on to the well-known Red Hunter series. So this is my 29. For those who know Ariels very well, you'll realise that the centre stand, the rear stand, wasn't fitted in 1929. It has got the original centre stand. They're a nightmare to get on. Ariel introduced it for 29 and dumped it the year after, which tells you everything you need to know. I couldn't get it on the stand, so I fitted this one from, it's a 1928 stand. So what I'm going to do is start her up and then we'll go for a little ride. Oh, here we are. Now to put the stand up. Stand up. So, there's the throttle. Tight advance, that means the cable's tight. First gear. Away we go. Into third. Now you may wonder where the speedo is. Well, it was an optional extra in 1929. If you got one, it fits in there. Same as the lights, that was an optional extra. You could either have dynamo with electrical ignition or acetylene lights. Up until the 20s it was mostly always acetylene, but dynamo lighting had started to come in and you had the option, dynamo, acetylene or nothing. Isn't it? Now of course with the throttle being that lever there, you have cruise control. Look, oops. Don't want to take your hands off the bars on these bumpy roads for too long, but look, there we are, cruise control. So I'm on full advance at the moment, that's that one. That's the air screw like the old show. Didn't use that to start it. Shugging a bit because of this hill. I could go down to second, but it's fine. Now with no lights, no brake light, no speedo, that's all perfectly legal. But you also, on modern bikes, you do have to have a horn, hence. So, that's my horn. It'd be nice to get a proper brass one. Warming up now, it feels a bit smoother. You can't beat a nice ride in the countryside on an old 29. Bum 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 bum. Lovely bit of countryside. Some nice views around here. If you're not used to girder forks, You'll notice the whole lot here going up and down. If I hit a big bump, I'll probably go ow. It's a rigid rear suspension. The only suspension under your backside is the springs in the seat. To be honest, mine's a bit worn. My other rigid Ariel, the seat is much comfier, it's much better sprung. That's a later copy seat. This is the original 29. Alright, change down to second here. See if I set the sign off, I know how fast I'm going then. There they are, under 30. And just round this bend is the petrol station. Just check behind me, that's fine. Hand signals. Into first. There we are. Neutral. Back it off a bit. And the valve lifter to stop it. I've had this bike about 9-10 months, got it at Christmas time. Hadn't run for years, had to do a bit of work on it. The petrol tank was rusty with a slight leak, so I also had old pet sealing that was coming out half dissolved. Had to do a lot of work on the tank. There's another YouTube video on my channel showing you how I did the tank. It's now fully cleared out, pet seal removed, rust removed, sealed, etched, and then a lovely finish with some real nice sealant. Don't go to second, I think. That's better. It's a bit uphill here. Into third again. So yeah, I had to do a fair bit of work, and the valves are the wrong ones. The Black Ariel ones are 1/8 of an inch shorter than the later Red Hunter ones, and that was all I could get. That's what was in it actually. And it means that the valve gear's at the wrong angle, the valve guides get badly worn. So it's a bit of a hunt to get new valves. I was lent one by a friend in the end, but I did pick up another one. So it's got new valves, and then the guides had to be replaced. The first replacement didn't work too well. The ones I bought from a well-known supplier, shall we say, for aerials, wore out in about 250 miles. My good friends at the Aerial Club weren't surprised, and they made me one. One of the guys made me one. Thank you, Derek. And what they use for making them, they have to be cast iron, which is self-lubricating because there's no real oil supply up there. And if you've got an old house with sash windows, they have big cast iron weights at the end of the sash windows, and that's what people use to make the guides. And I've done 600 or 700 miles since, no problems. Right, coming to a junction here, mini roundabout, I have to concentrate. Also, to lube the valve guides, most people put a little cap of 2-stroke oil in with the petrol. I forgot to bring my 2-stroke oil with me to the garage for it to be alright. I'd oiled the valves before I come on the lambs wool, put some oil on, they'll be fine. Right, I think we'll turn left here. It's nice round here. Hand signal. If you look at my other videos where I go out for a ride, I often come this way because it's fairly near home and it leads on some lovely routes. Put it in third, I think. The gearing is, see, it's chugging now, but that's about 30 miles an hour. If you want to stick to the speed limits, and here's a 30. I might go down to second actually. And I don't really worry too much, but I was on a speed awareness course last month. And I don't want to get another one. So as long as I don't try and accelerate, I could back the ignition off a bit. Now that's pulling fine. Sounds like it's chugging, but it's not. It's fine. Give it a bit more welly to go up the hill. So reliability wise, I've had a few little issues when I first got it. Like I said, the valve gear, the valve train. I have had a problem with the fuel leaking out the float bowl. That's an ongoing problem. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it's reliable. I've been a good few 100 mile plus rides on it. Days out with the Ariel Club. I think yeah, the biggest ride so far was in the summer. Just shut behind the Banbury, the famous Banbury Vintage Club, the vintage run for free 1930 bikes. And unlike one or two who take the bikes up in vans, I rode up from here in East Hertfordshire over to meet the rest of the Ariel guys in West Hertfordshire, up to Banbury, did the longer run and rode home. I set off at 6 in the morning, got back about 7, half 7 in the evening. 250 miles just short of, I think. I have a phone app that tells me how many miles I've done, if I could be bothered to put it on. So according to Google, that was about where it was. Isn't it lovely around these lanes? Imagine riding one of these home from the shops in 1929. You just got your Ariel. You'd feel like the king, wouldn't you, riding along on this? 29, as many of you know, the year of the Wall Street crash. This came out in March 29. I think that's just before the Wall Street crash. Here we go to second. This was the most popular selling of the Black Ariels. The 26 did very well, and the 27 helped get Ariel's name very well known, same as the 28. And by the time the 29 come out, they sold tens of thousands. It was a very popular bike, still is. Incidentally, the getting used to the twist grip throttle, well, lack of twist grip throttle. Oops, 32, there's my speedo. It's really handy because if you want to change down a gear, just keep it revving, and there you go, without crunching all the gears in the gearbox. Now I did think when I bought it, before I rode it, because it's going to take me a while to ride, to fix up rather, I did think, well, that's got to go. I'm not having a lever throttle. I'll have to get a twist grip. You can buy them. It was an option again in 1929, I believe. However, once I'd ridden it a little distance, I thought, oh, I can get the hang of this. And would I change back now? No. I've ridden my friend's hand change gear bike, again a Black Ariel, hand gear change. He's got a twist grip, and I just found you crash the gears more and didn't like it as much. So we're doing about 30, I think. This is a 30 zone, I'm in second. Bit of speed, woo! Handling's pretty good. I mean, it's an old girder bike when all said and done. I've got a, in fact, tyre weren't too bad. I put a new front tyre on, the old one was vile. And I find it handling pretty good, really. No complaints. Just if you hit a bump mid-bend, in a big bump, with a rigid rear and a girder foot at the front, you do notice it. One of the issues with vintage bikes is the brakes, and some bikes of this era are positively dangerous. I've ridden my mate's 1911 Triumph, and the only braking is really anticipation and not a lot else. And on this one, the back brakes are pretty good, as they were back in the day, and the front, well, it's working. I might get it relined with modern liners, probably been done, but it's not too bad. Keep looking down to make sure where the foot peg is, because I've been riding my other bike, it's a different position. Into first. I do like riding it around lanes like this. As I've been on dual carriageways and whatever, just do whatever, but I mean, you can easily cruise at 50, in fact I do cruise at 50. They're capable of far more, it's a matter of how much you want to thrash it really. So I'm quite happy 50-55. I mean, it's a very low compression engine, it's only 6:1 compression ratio. And you know, which reflects with fuel in those days. But I might have to put a modern piston in it, a more modern one, say modern, a later Ariel one. Because there's no oil ring on these, no oil scraper ring. And the oil consumption is pretty horrendous on this one. Yeah, the bore's a bit worn and the piston looks okay. I put new rings in, made very little difference. Really you need an oil scraper ring. One of the problems, let's put in second, oops, missed. One of the problems with that is this one's got a 1-inch gudgeon pin, and all the later pistons were different size, I think they're 13/16 or something like that. So the only way you can fit a later piston is to get a new bush in the little end. But I think I'm going to have to, because the oil consumption is quite poor. They weren't this bad new, but going to the Banbury and back, I took 2 litres of oil with me, used all of the oil in my oil tank, used the 2 litres and had to borrow a bit off a friend from his container. The irony was, his was a total lost bike and he didn't need any. I mean, it smokes a bit, but what the heck. Lubricates the valve. There's my speedometer, look, oops, 21, I had to bump as I was changing gear and oops, missed a gear, can't quite put it in because of that bump. I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. Such a joy to ride though. Ooh, yeah, he says as he hit a pothole. I really enjoyed the Banbury run, despite the massive amount of miles, you know, for an old bike and the early start, and I had a couple of issues with it, leaking petrol out the fuel float bowl and a couple of other issues. It was wonderful. And they are reliable, you can just go and go and go on these. That's how Ariel built its reputation. So I've got no qualms of just jumping on it and going to ride somewhere. You don't think, oh, that's a bit far. Just squirt a bit of oil on the valves before you go, on the sheets all right around the valves. Grease gun on the rocker spindles, give them a little squidge. If you haven't done the girder forks for a bit, there's loads of grease nipples on there, just give them a little splodge of grease. It's a full third here, but you're never sure what traffic's coming or people stepping out, so pothole. Nice places around here, isn't it? I suppose, apart from the white lines, this is the kind of a road that was available. This is the main road. We're going to go left here. And just check behind me, that's fine. I'd quite like to fit a mirror. If you look at the handlebars, where's left to fit it? I suppose you could put one here, but then it wouldn't reach out. I can't put one here because that's where the throttle is. That side maybe. Anyway, there concentrate, because this is quite narrow and slippy, and cars come round in the middle of a road far too fast, expecting nothing to be coming. As you can see, it's got a bit muddy, a bit slippy. Road surface, yeah. It's a full second around here, but it's quite sharp, and I say you never know what's coming. Don't mind revving it, it's a reliable old bike. Lovely Hertfordshire. Not quite sure what we're growing there. Is it wine fields? There's a few wineries around here. Is it a crop of berries? I don't know. Yeah, this is the kind of roads this bike spent its life on in the early days. I don't know too much about the history of the bike. The bloke I bought it off was an old boy, 84 or 85 or something like that, and he'd owned it for 40 years. Been everywhere on it, been over to Ireland and the Irish Valley, up and down Britain, been everywhere. It was a well-known bike. Lovely chap. He hadn't ridden it for a good few years, getting on I suppose. Needed a bit of work. I advertised in the Ariel Owners Club magazine, the Cheval de Feu, the Iron Horse. And I wanted a black Ariel, only a black Ariel, from 26 to 29, nothing else. Because I was, they got first I think. And he, whoops, there's a few red on. And the guy got in touch, said he wasn't thinking of selling it, but he could see I was an enthusiast, I was in the club, and I was very specific in wanting exactly one of these bikes. So not only did he sell it to me, he gave me a very good price. So thank you very much. Have a bit of third. I am a bit wary, like I said, some of the things come around here. Beautiful, isn't it? I say, I don't mind revving it a bit. It handles lovely around the bends if it's not too bumpy. Boing, 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 boing. Not exactly a modern air suspension bike, is it? Look at this. This is the kind of roads this was built for. Ooh. Ooh. Second. Probably need first in a minute. There's always loads of parked cars around here, so else it'll go very slow. Be prepared to stop. Yeah, we'll have a bit of first. The gear change in the gearbox is really nice on this. As long as you give it the right revs on the throttle, it just snicks into gear really, really simply. The Berman box is grease filled, but it leaks quite a lot of grease. I was telling my guys it's semi-fluid grease, so I bought some wonderfully expensive big tub. I thought I'd use it. Morrison's semi-fluid grease. And I put it in and went for a ride, and basically it come out again. There's no real seals on the box. And I spoke to some of the old experts in the club, and it's like, no, you need a lot thicker than that. So basically, Alphas, 2 or 3 tubs of Castrol LM. What's going on here? Oh, he's just waiting for 2 or 3 tubs of Castrol LM grease and chuck him. Right, big road coming, so I'll have to shut up for a bit. So we've now turned off onto a very small road. Dummy's got a number, and it's passing points, gravel, mud, water puddles. Beautiful though. But I just have to hope nobody comes hurtling round too fast, because the over brakes ain't too bad. You have to have a little bit of a stopping time. Some lovely walks around here too, not just riding. You can't really see through that hedge, can you? No. Just wave him on. I think there's a break here you can see through. Yeah, look at that. Right. Not going to second just yet because I can't see. Oh yeah. As you can see, it's all pull-ins. There's a lot of roads like this in 29. Well, this road was here in 29. But you didn't tend to have white transit vans and great big 4x4s hurtling round them straight at you. On one of these roads I used to get so sick of cars coming at you very fast round the bend blind that I used to go ridiculously slow because it was such a common occurrence. And on one occasion I managed to slam my brakes on, this is in a car, slam it into reverse and go backwards to avoid being hit. The woman coming the other way just looked at me like, oh. Nice little road down there which leads to a couple of deep fords to get out, which if you look at some of my videos on my KTM, I go through them. I went through one of them on my aerial trials bike. I've got, you know, you've seen my aerial on it's a WNG framed VH 500 engine, doing some green lading, but unfortunately it doesn't like water. So I went straight through this ford, stopped in the middle. Well, I didn't mean to, but the engine did. Feet down, and had to slowly push it out of deep water. There's one of them just there, just missed the entrance. So no, the Magneto don't like water. I think you can get later trials ones for the aerial, well, for any British bike. But it's competition trials off-road ones, so I'll have to pick one up maybe. Start the fun off-roading is some of the deep fords, and oh, look at this road. Pop, 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 pop. Perhaps should have changed down then, but pulls it alright. Cycle rides around here too, walk, cycle ride. I absolutely love living in Hertfordshire. From the Midlands originally, moved down here for work in my 80s and various other reasons, and I vowed 2 years maximum. And then I did another 2 years, but I'll do 3 years maximum. Ooh. Road closed. I'm not quite sure if it's closed where we're going. I think we turn off beforehand. We'll see. Yeah, I think we'll be alright. This bit's really beautiful, sun shining through, and I know to go slow because look what's ahead, big deep ford. It's not that deep, not like the off-road ones, the green lane ones. Can I go through on the bike today? Yeah, you can go up over the bridge, just don't go too fast because if it gets a splash on that mat I'm in trouble. Seems to be alright. Quite a steep hill this. Cycled up here a few times and not enjoyed it. The roads are a bit wider here. Not so much passing points as two-way most of it. I just love riding bikes around here. Even those sort of fast, twisty A and B roads, you know, you can get much faster speeds up and faster on. I mean, the views around here. It's October now, mid-October. We've had a very cold week and then it suddenly picked up the last couple of days. Very nice. So if I keep sniffing into the microphone because I've got a bit of a cold. Ah yeah, I thought so. Road ahead closed, but we're turning right. I thought we'd miss it. Have a look behind. Yeah, we're fine. See again, your engine's still turning. Yeah, so I've got the throttle open a bit. So you just snick it into gear. Had a few crunched gear changes when I first rode it. Oh, oopsie daisy. another hazard. Not far from home now. Oh, good! That was a bit of a bang up the backside. Right, there's a right here. Get behind, that's fine. Now, I did an aerial in the snow video. If you're a VMCC member, it's in your calendar, a photo of my aerial for January. And if you want to see it, YouTube, what's it called, green laning in the snow on an aerial, and you might recognise that's the green lane. I went to ride down, or ride up, and back actually. 5 or 6 inches of snow fell. The police said stay off the roads, dangerous, so I got my trials there and went for a potter. Look at that. As I said, fans come hurtling around here. That was a lot of fun green laning in the snow. Stupid really. Red kite flying over, look. Get a lot of owls around here as well, obviously not many this time of day. Great, more floods. I just love it, look at this. More floods. No, it's not too bad. Very careful here. This is a bend where I have to reverse the car quickly to stop being hit by some woman hurtling around it. Ridiculous. Bit's a bit blurry. Gravel, farm drive, house drives. Oh, potholes. That green lane I showed you comes out. Oops, comes out here on the right, just down there. If you haven't seen it, do watch. Green laning in the snow on an 1944 aerial. Oh! I don't just ride aerials. I've got a BSA 10 which I've ridden, well, I've owned for 40 years. 40 years this May just gone. Lovely bike, heavily tuned, worked on, done loads of work on it. I've a good few videos of me taking that for a thrash. There's a bump like you won't believe here, so I'll brace myself. Here it comes. Oh, excuse me. Good indication there, mate, just swerve across. Some people. Right, I'm going to stop the commentary now. No. I hope you've been enjoyed this ride. If you haven't thought of giving my video a like yet and subscribing, now's a good time. and when I'm back I'll just do a little chat. So yeah, home. So there we are, a lovely ride on my 1929 Ariel. I hope you enjoyed it, folks. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Don't cost you out, helps me develop the channel. Loads more to come. I'm off green laning on my other aerials shortly. I've got to do a bit of work on it first. A couple of other bikes I'll be out riding, and hopefully see you back here another time. Bye.